Good to have you back. Hey, it is Dak Prescott. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, unlike Kenny Pickett, unlike Anthony Richardson, Dak Prescott will not be seen on a preseason football field. Hate to lead the league in interceptions before the season starts, but he did talk about the Super Bowl drought in Dallas and how much he and the guys in that locker room want to be a part of the Cowboy franchise that ends the drought. Well, look, here's the reality, Plax. You and I have talked about it on this show a lot. From a pure just talent standpoint, the Dallas Cowboys have the goods to be in the conversation. We know what Philly is. We know what San Francisco is. But they've got depth at wide receiver. You've got a very good defense. Guys who've also got the bag and made their money. You've got the best defensive player in the sport right now. And it's really on his shoulders because they are a good football team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more on the shoulders because I believe Dallas probably will have one of those top 1, 2, or 3 defenses in the league. So it's going to be more glaring even on Dak to go out offensively and put up some points. If their defense is holding guys at 16, 17 points a game, they can't go out and put up 21 points, then all the blame is going to be shifted to him.
Sure.
And the fact that he's not going to be playing the preseason, I just think that he needs to get, he needs to get out and get some reps with this offense because, you know, all of these teams that we expect to get off to great starts and fast starts, they don't play during the preseason. And then after that first month, where these teams are who are we as a football team, they're still trying to figure it out because none of these guys have played during the preseason.
Right.
And I just don't think it really helps him or the offense going into the season.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. You're talking about a guy who's now with Mike McCarthy, had multiple 12-win seasons.
Yep.
And we forget that this man retired Tom Brady, right? So I think he's prepared for the season.
He did not retire
Wait a minute.
Tom
Wait a
Brady.
minute.
He retired
Wait a
Tom
minute.
Brady.
He didn't retire Tom Brady.
He did not retire
You
Tom
not want to
Brady.
agree with me on that?
Man.
Todd Bowles retired Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was in his 31st season.
He retired Tom
Right.
Brady, moved on and lost to the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's going to be fine. I think what we talked about earlier in the week is optics in camp has been shaky, right?
He has not played well.
He has not played well. He looks, interception happy. I think him kind of taking a break, resetting. And you got to understand,
right,
losing Kellen Moore is going to be big. Right now, Mike McCarthy he's calling the plays, he's taking over the offense. So I think having that time to say, hey man, if we're going to start the season off right, let me sit back and make sure.
But let me stop you there. I mean, Kellen Moore, getting rid of Kellen Moore to me is a scapegoat. Where now
Right.
it was like, hey, we're
how
publicly blaming Kellen Moore for Dak Prescott leading the league in interceptions. Right. And we watched every Cowboy game. That's not a fair assessment of why the Cowboys didn't play well. Dak didn't play well. Not because of Kellen Moore.
I don't think he didn't. I agree with that. But I also think they could have made it easier for him. If you see, because now with Mike McCarthy and his offense, now it's more intermediate route. It's crossing routes. It's about getting the ball. It's not about the long ball. Having continuous drives, extending drives to the point where he can stay on the field and give that defense a rest. Because the defense played lights out last year, to your point. Right. But now it's about Dak proving up that he can handle the load.
I'll tell you, if I'm a Cowboy fan and I hear that we're going to throw more out patterns, I'm scared to death because that's the one pass that kid can't throw.
That's what it seems like that's where all the picks are coming from.
Right.
Throwing to the outside.
I want him to throw the ball deep.
Right.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Figure it out.
He definitely has the guys that can get deep. CD Lamb and Michael Gallup and some of those guys. But I would say from a quarterbacking standpoint, going into the season where he's basically saying they hold themselves to a high standard. You build confidence through seeing yourself have success and do great things on the football field.
Yeah.
And him walking into week 1, Sunday night against the Giants, if they lose to the Giants, which they will on Sunday night,
there you go.
Then I can't wait to see what the media and everybody's reaction is going to be.
Now, unless it's like a 35-31 game and Dak's throwing for 380 and 3 scores, but if they lose to the Giants on Sunday night,
2 or 3 picks, you can forget about it.
It's going to be, hey, get Cooper Rush ready.
I just want to be here for that one.
By the way, today is an anniversary. We should acknowledge it. It was 7 years ago today that Tony Romo got hurt and Dak Prescott became the starting quarterback. Oh, there it is right there. Broke his back. Dak Prescott became the starting quarterback. In Dallas, they do call that D-Day. No disrespect to, obviously, historical D-Day. But it's Dak Day down in Dallas. So we thought we'd put together the top 4 moments in Dak Prescott's career as we celebrate and honor the beginning of his Dallas Cowboy career. There was Christmas Eve in 2022 when the Dallas Cowboys were playing the Eagles And remember this play?
Oh, you
yeah.
hate to see it.
Yeah, hate to see it.
Get him.
Dig, Dak.
Now, to be fair, Dallas won that game.
Right.
But there you go. He ruined Christmas for about a half hour.
Oh, man. Look at big number 73 hustle. That's what I'm talking about, big fella.
Then you have the second greatest moment in Dak Prescott's Cowboy career. It was pregame, Sunday Night Football, what became known as the hip whip. The hip whip. And every high school quarterback was like, hey, guess what? I've got a new pregame routine.
Cocoa Pop.
Look at that.
What I'm talking about.
Then, of course,
I never seen him do that in the game.
Then, of course, one of the highlights of Dak Prescott's Cowboy career happened this preseason in training camp when a fellow teammate referred to him with a word that's very hard to use on TV. As we've discussed in this show many times, none of you guys ever heard a starting quarterback being referred to as a B word in your careers, correct? Other than Mark Sanchez, you said.
I didn't say Mark Sanchez. I said I said I heard it used. I did not say
that was pretty
you
good.
mean behind his back? Like someone said that quarterback is a blank.
Correct.
As opposed to you are a blank.
Right.
Got it. Much different.
It's all about context. It's all
much different context. And of course, there's the number one play in the history of Dak Prescott, and that is the NFC wildcard game against San Francisco. Clock running out, and what are we doing?
Oh. Game on the line, and it slides.
Tick.
And the
Look at the rap. Get out the way, rap.
Tick.
Oh.
Those are the four biggest plays in Dak Prescott's young career. But if you are a Cowboy fan, congratulations. Hopefully you're enjoying Dak Day down in Dallas today. Dak Day. A couple of the quick football things for you guys. I had a chance to sit down one-on-one with C.J. Uzomah, the tight end for the New York Jets, and I was asking him about the comparison, if any, as a guy who played with a young Joe Burrow, went to a Super Bowl, of course, and lost, and now getting to play, or at least in practice, with Aaron Rodgers. And here's what he had to say. Go ahead. You played with another great quarterback, obviously, in Joe Burrow. Obviously, different stage of his career, very early on in his career. Are there comparisons for you?
Yeah, I mean, the comparison thing, last time I tried to make a comparison, people were like freaked out on me. But I do think, there are, mentality-wise of being on the field and trying to analyze the game and seeing the defense as well as they do, there is for sure a comparison. Like you said, I mean, Aaron's been doing this.
Well, one guy's 40, one guy's 25.
Yeah, I'll be honest, the knowledge of blitzes and schemes to me is the most incredible thing that I've ever witnessed. Him being at the line against our defense put in a new defense in terms of scheme for a second, and him saying, pointing two people out and saying this is what they're doing, and them looking at each other and being like, how the hell does he know this?
Look, you played with Ben Roethlisberger. I think Ben's probably at that PhD level. Certainly by the time he retired, he was. Walk us through what that's like being a receiver, and you have a quarterback who, like CJ's saying, and this is in practice, Jets put in a new defensive scheme for a practice, and Aaron's like, that's the Mike, that's the Will, he's coming off the corner, and the other dudes are like, what are you talking about?
Hey, the guy's seen it all. This is why I always say that playing quarterback in the National Football League is the toughest position in sports. Because of this conversation with this young man, the quarterback knowing and understanding what the defense is trying to do to him, and he already sees it coming. That's what makes him so difficult to stop, is because if he knows what defense that you're in before the ball is even hiked, then he already knows where he's going with the football. And the first thing that jumped up to my mind is, playing with Eli and getting to the line of scrimmage, and him seeing the defense rotating to a different coverage, and him looking at me and giving me a signal and saying a word for a route combination audible that we ran 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I would look at him like, are you serious? And I'm like, man, this dude is so in tune and so in touch with the game that he saw this defense from another team.
So let me ask this.
2 or 3 weeks
This may
ago,
seem like a
and he
weird
automated
question.
the line of scrimmage.
Does that make it easier or harder for you?
It makes it easier because he's already figured out and he knows what we're going to do before the ball is hiked. Okay. And he already has the defense in his mind for something that he saw a month ago. And to be able to get to the line of scrimmage and to make that call and make that audible, it just shows you how intelligent some of these guys are.
Yeah, for me, when he's talking about hindsight. I mean, for me, when you got a quarterback like that, he makes it carefree. He gets the lineman out of a lot of trouble. When you're able to pick up a blitz from a lineman standpoint, we always have the mic, right? We got the 4 down. Now he's saying, hey, man, I see something. Let's slide the line. Takes the thinking away from us. Now we can just roll off the ball and react. We talked about that earlier. As an offensive lineman, you just want to play. You don't want to feel like you have to be the big brain out there. He's the big brain.
Yeah.
So when he's able to get receivers in good positions, he get the offensive line in the best position. Now you have efficient football, and now you have winning football.
Are there 5 guys in the league that can do that? Like, how special is that?
It's rare.
Got
and
it.
I would say maybe there's 4 or 5. Outside of that, I can't see or think of.
It's what separates good from great, I assume, right?
I haven't been around them to really understand and to know their IQ as play callers at the line of scrimmage and being able to dissect and recognize them.
And he also has the data. He's played long enough.
It's what makes him special. Like Uzomah did go on to say, we're not going to air it for you, that they lined up for a play, and like you just said, Aaron yelled out some kind of audible to him for a play they hadn't even run yet.
Right.
And he's like, what are you talking about? He goes, just run it, I got you. And that's what it was.
Well, it also goes to what we were talking about earlier. It's trust, right? Because if you don't trust your quarterback to make that call on the field, you're like, man, go ahead. Like what we call is what we're doing. He's saying no. Trust what I'm saying to you, deliver, and we're going to get out of here.
Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.